Every nation has their one player that stands out above the rest of their player base. Some are not even leaders, but they are fairly noticeable people. Empire had Xenoblaze, obviously one of the most famous people on the server. Abyss had Shun SY, one of the main factors of the controversy of the Nation's Abyss War. Vanguard had Snook OG, one of the main leaders of the nation. And of course, New Dawn had Papa V. Lennon. Okay, now technically it's the other schmuck, but due to his irrelevance to this situation...
Know your fucking place, trash!
Papa V. Lennon was a well-known and volatile player who was part of the New Dawn's King Council and was mayor of his town LL, also known as Lennon Land. On top of this, he was also an admin of an official game server. But on all this, I have used the word was, not is, and I will explain that throughout this whole thing. So, from Lennon's beginning in early 2019 to his blacklist in June of 2020, this is the biography of Papa V. Lennon. Papa V. Lennon's first appearance on the server was actually earlier than many might assume. He joined in January of 2019 onto the server and at first inhabited the town of Azentha. Yet he wasn't important enough, so basically he just left. He came back around December, in which he was brought into Leningrad by Ollie J101. Now why did he get invited exactly, of course? According to him, it was because Ollie saw Lennon's name and summarized it as this: "Hey, a player named Papa V. Lennon in a Lennon skin that could be part of my town of Leningrad. This might be an interesting way to publicize my existence." So from this, Lennon joined and became part of the town. As time went on, he soon became part of the town staff that was involved in many of the buildings of Leningrad, such as the palace and the ice track. But unfortunately, it has been recently discovered that a majority of Leningrad has actually been printed using Schematica, and the ice track was rigged with speed hacks to ensure constant winning. Later on, Lennon became one of the founders of the nation New Dawn. The original meeting took place as of April 6th in terms of figuring out how the finite details of New Dawn will work, such as the capital, economy, and everything else involved. Now, Lennon was supposed to be involved with the announcing of New Dawn's creation, but during that, he kinda messed up in the process by announcing that the town of Midgard will be joining, which in turn gave this response of Jamie scolding off Lennon. Now, even though that city was kinda lost, it was just wiped aside and they continued to press on with the founding of a new nation. As time continued, it was a smooth flight. For Lennon, he became a king council member, a fancy term for co-king in their department, and was also getting small press for his new Olympic game of chunk banning. For context of that, in April and probably early May assumingly, he created a tower out of his own head, which wound up chunk banning 8 different people, including one staff member. His idea afterwards was to do the same exact thing, but to do it more carefully as to not get another issue. He went outside of Leningrad, found a random hill in which he would do his head paving and create what existed as seen in the documentary footage as Lennon Land. Along with this, he created his famous head parkour, which I attempted to semi-complete, and also the roller coaster that was partially completed before he was banned. From there, he also created the Papa V. Lennon cross made out of his own head, and soon, Lennon Land became its own town called L on May 11th. But how? Well, there's a bad, violent beginning to it. New Dawn ended up in a small crisis. Before the crisis, Lennon was just, let's just say, not too friendly. And I didn't have any better relations at the time because the two of us got into a fight after I attempted bribing a New Dawnian town for 10 million. Best waste of 10 million ever. Anyway, Lennon got into more important and internal conflicts with New Dawn, especially with the other New Dawnian staff like NESJ and Ollie J101, whether it would be with the council or the town. One noticeable conflict was NESJ and other members trashing Lennon Land to the point of Lennon going total apeshit.
Oh, hang on a second, I'm stuck behind some stupid fat ass. Hey, up yours, you jerks!
The end result? Well, Lennon was kicked out of both Leningrad
Get the fuck out!
and New Dawn.
Get the fuck out!
But his outburst probably caused the worst of it.
Krakatoa!
The outburst was basically accusing the big four nations of Empire, Ancient, Black Horsemen, and South Scott as a bunch of Nazis, another few insults. This ended up with New Dawn getting into the nation's New Dawn War, and later on the demise of New Dawn. So basically New Dawn ended up imploding because of internal problems, and Lenin started the fire. Yay. This is why you always need to make sure that your people are not going to cause problems. But anyway, the perpetrator, meanwhile, was hiding out in his town, and as this mess continued on, he simply worked on his town as if nothing happened. On May 12th, LL joined the nation of Georgia, mainly as Lenin called it, only for a few chunk claims, which I didn't care since there's one player added in my nation, yay. Continuing on, he collected a few rare heads, kept up with his constructing, and used his Lenin head cross to remove toxicity from the ex-Udanian towns of Leningrad, North Korea, and later on he added on Hell. However, Lenin left Georgia to go to the reforming nation of Thalor, and his visit only lasted for 2 days due to Lenin having internal issues with Nia SJ once again, which soon led to Thalor's demise again, even with a second chance for Alpha.
Get the fuck out!
So basically this guy's coming in, or Lenin and Nia SJ are just one divorced couple. So from that waste of time, he returned back to Georgia, and from there everything was going good for him. On June 19th, 2020, Papa V. Lenin was banned for lag plots by the Towny manager Pebbles, and had his ban further extended and blacklisted June 20th, the following day. With this, Lenin was kicked out of the server forever, never to return. Now this has led to the question of, why exactly? Well, to begin with, there has already been a multitude of staff that has been there, including higher-ups like Favicon and War of the Tom. So obviously, if they didn't go crazy about it, there seems to be no reason why Pebbles should have went crazy over it. However, there is one point that does remain fairly reasonable. It's lag plots, which Lenin does confirm that when you head into the area, it does drop by about 5 to 10 frames per second, depending on the strength of your computer you're using, whether it be a potato or a gaming PC. Which you can again see from the footage that, as on the computer I was playing on, it was not as bad, or it's not even noticeable. Now Lenin has stated that he has tried to get Pebbles to visit, but Pebbles never bothered to show up. But here's a theory that I think happened as Lenin was getting banned, or going to get banned. Now War of the Tom has seen the Thaler video, being posted on June 18th. It might be possible that War of the Tom possibly shared the video to Pebbles, or showed him a bit, and when Pebbles saw the amount of heads that Lenin stuck around, he ran to his home faster than when he found out his father just came back from the cigar store. And Pebbles from there banned Lenin, and you know the rest. So from there, Lenin sort of moved on to the now dead server known as Pulse MC, also known as that server I did an add-on a while back, which kind of wasn't great. And afterwards, he just ultimately gave up on MC in general and moved on to better fields, pastures, whatever the fuck you want to call it. He moved on to another game called War Selection, in which he became an admin, and bragged about it to other small servers, and seemed to hold it well, until an ex-staff named Night Owl began accusing all the staff of being a pedo, and soon shit broke loose. And from there, somehow, Lenin used his excellent charming skills and diplomacy to lose his admin rank, and then his moderator rank, and then he just lost all staff ranks. And then he was just permanently banned from the Discord ultimately.
Get the fuck out!
So from there, last I heard, he was playing against the evil army of 7 and 9-year-olds. With all that done, Lenin's basically gone. Yet what about what he left behind? Lenin Land. Well, on August 21, 2020, I had Favicon declaim Lenin Land, in which I quickly reclaimed it as a memorial of Lenin, and for another outpost. With this, I did the standard raids, cleaned out all the items that were worth any value, put copyrights on Lenin's heads, and I finished construction of the roller coaster. There were plans to expand on this further with a new head core. Yeah, let's do that. Head core. Anyway, there were further plans to expand on another head core. But due to being banned by Pebbles, seems like a pattern here, on October 5th, 2020, and probably forever, Lenin Land will suffer a death or deletion by either December 4th to 5th, or when the time decays, on January 5th, 2021. 2 years after Lenin officially joined the server. Now, Lenin, unless you are not aware, has actually been a big help with these videos as our chief moral support, who screams obscenities at me for not moving my ass enough and offering some info on some things here. Of course, nowadays, he just screams at everybody who calls him a 12-year-old, a jobless bum, or such. And to end this video of facts nobody needs to remember, here is a list of achievements that Lenin won mentioning about him. Scamming Taylor out of $90 million. GG. Illegally getting barrier and bedrock blocks, which I have no idea how, nor will care. Made one of, if not the largest town made up mostly of heads, because probably everyone else got banned. And got a multitude of staff and people to sign his town, including high-rank staff. That's probably the most impressive, honestly. Thank you for your time watching this video. If you have any suggestions, write them on a piece of paper and throw them right in the shredder, because I'm no longer taking suggestions anymore. The last famous video of I will be doing on this history, I will be doing Archipelago's Biography, and then you will be on other videos and stuff. I have a plan on that one. Should be funny, hopefully. So, see you then in the next video. Posted note, I'd be surprised if Lenny can actually hold a rocket firing straight down into a black hole, let alone any position of power with his track record. He's probably better off as a demolition man or wrecking ball.